This is calling to order the Historic Architectural Review Board. Do I have an approval of the agenda as it was published? I have no modifications. I have a motion from Naeem. Second from Jordan. Any comments or questions on the motion floor from the board? Public comments, questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. If you would rise for the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance. Hey, Jordan, will you lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I appreciate that. Somebody gets me started, it all comes back, you know. I only say it 2 or 3 times a day, right? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as it was published? So moved. I have a motion from Naeem. Second. I have a second from Ms. Kathy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That takes us to our first agenda item. There's nothing under public hearings or ordinances. Update on funded state small matching grants for historic resources survey. Jean-Paul, you're going to take us through that update?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. John Paul Perez, Planning and Economic Development Department. This presentation was given to, in more length, to the City Commission on August 28th. This is just an update on the update that the city is doing for the Historic Resource Survey. The Historic Resource Survey is just an inventory of all our historic properties within the district currently, and will include 40 additional properties. Sorry, I'm trying to get this clicker to work and it's not functioning at all. Great. It is. Yeah, it's green. All right. I will give the peace sign to advance the slide. The image on the screen right now is the boundary of the historic district. It currently has 83 Florida Master Site files. Florida Master Site file is just essentially a document that says the structure is in this condition, was built in this time. It has some basic information about it textually, and also includes images of the property documenting it at the time the form was submitted. The task was to update the 83 that we have there currently, so they have now an updated Florida Master Site file, and 40 additional properties that now have become eligible. To be eligible, you have to be at least 50 years of age for the structure. And we received a small matching grant for, let me see if this works. All right, so I'll do two peace signs. See if we can get it to go forward. Yeah. Well, anyway, we applied for our grant in 2021. We received the grant. We reached out to contractors via the bid process. JMT was selected. JMT is a national firm. They're really good at what they do, and they're very fast at what they do too. So super impressed with them, because we had kind of had some delays in the grant process that pushed it all the way out to 2023. And they were able to accomplish all the deliverables within a period of like a month and a half. So very impressed with their work. Just wanted to see if it worked now. No, it's not. And so they went ahead and completed it. Everything's now submitted to the state for distribution of payment. And the updated Historic Resource Survey for 2023, as well as the one from 2011, are available on the city website if you want to download them and look at them. What we didn't put up are all the individual Florida Master Site files. That document's north of 650 pages. So we can only upload, I think, a few megs on our website. So that is the update on the Historic Resource Survey, now available on a city website near you. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? All right, great job. Welcome, Mr. Attorney. Got here just in time. Request for a certificate of appropriateness for proposed mixed-use building within Newberry Historic District. We're entering a quasi-judicial procedure. This means that the board will stop being a legislative body and will become a judicial board, which means that we have to follow certain rules and adhere to a different standard of decision-making. The primary rule we must follow concerns testimony. The substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the judicial board makes a decision. This standard states the following, and I quote, "All public testimony taken under oath, everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. The giving of opinion testimony is limited to experts. Closing arguments will be limited to the evidence of record." I'm going to ask the attorney at this point to read into the record the resolution.
Happy to do so, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number CA 2023-01, a resolution of the Historic Architectural Review Board of the City of Newberry, Florida, for approval of a certificate of appropriateness as authorized under section 11.11 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations for the design of a mixed-use building on land which is within the historic district. Located at 25739 West Newberry Road, tax parcel number is 02232-000-000, repealing all resolutions in conflict and provide an effective date. Appropriate motion is passed. Resolution number CA 2023-01 upon its reading by title only.
Thank you, sir. We got everybody here just in the nick of time. I'm also going to ask the attorney if you would now swear in the applicant, staff, and anybody wishing to participate, even if you're not sure that you're going to speak. If you think you might, go ahead and stand up now and we'll get you sworn in. This is the quasi-judicial on behalf of Bounds Properties.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
If you would, state your names for the record, please.
John Paul Perez.
All witnesses have been sworn, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to, before we begin, we need to disclose any ex parte communications, disclose whether any member physically inspected the property. Remember that ex parte communications are any communications or conversations or transmission of information that may have bearing or influence on any voting member's decision. Member Parker?
No.
Member Willis? Member Polo?
No.
Member Tommins?
No.
Member Jordan?
No.
Member Naeem? No. I'm a non-voting member, but I have none as well. Okay, I'm going to explain the order of presentation we will follow for the quasi-judicial tonight. First, we're going to hear a staff overview. Then the applicant has the opportunity to make a presentation with no time limit. Then we'll hear a staff's report and recommendation, also with no time limit. I've not been contacted by anybody wishing to claim a third-party intervener status. So that's going to move us to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak to this agenda item have 3 minutes to do so. Then the applicant can cross-examine, staff can cross-examine, members of the decision-making body can ask questions of the applicant or the staff. Then we'll hear final arguments. The city attorney will then advise the decision-making body of applicable law and the factual findings that must be made to approve or deny the application. Then we will deliberate, and after deliberations, we will have a vote to approve with conditions, continue, or deny the application. We'll start with the staff overview. Jean Paul, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Oh, this was just working. The battery was in backwards, one of them. Yeah. Regardless, the request before you tonight is just for design of a new historic building. It's going to be a 2-story mixed-use building with ground commercial and apartments up top. It'll be 6 apartments. Access to those apartments will be on a stairwell that's on the
Missy, do we have another PowerPoint?
east side of the building. There is actually.
There is. Can we get that loaded up here for the board?
Just a moment ago, I was able to flip through the slides. It seems as if I'm not able to flip through the slides at this time. And the remote is definitely in a working condition. Pardon me.
All right,
We'll get
we'll
there
pause
shortly.
for technological issues.
Keep going. Yep. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. All right, that's the beginning. And go ahead and load there. And just Shift F5 on the keyboard should load the presentation into presentation mode with the current slide selected. Awesome. And I have control over it now, so
Right,
Thank
look
you.
at that. All works. All right, back on track.
hallelujah. The request before you tonight is just for a certificate of appropriateness for the design of the building. The site plan will be forthcoming. It is a mixed-use, two-story building on the site that's shown on the aerial on the screen currently. Bounds Properties LLC, owners of Bounds Heat and Air, is the applicant, along with Trip Norfleet as the contractor and Monarch Design Group as the design group. Here are some street images of the property from Google Street View, so these may be a year old or so. Some of those trees and fences have been cleared already. And this is the proposed design that would be approved tonight. This is the north facade, which is a modern interpretation of the commercial masonry vernacular that we have throughout our downtown. In staff's opinion, would be a great addition to the downtown corridor. Here's the same elevation and plan view, so you can see the increased glazing on the ground floor for the commercial uses, the windows with muttons and mullions on the second floor, more associated with masonry vernacular, so as well as some of the decorative brickwork on the parapet. And out of order to the quasi-judicial and to speed things up, we do find it consistent with the comp plan and land development regulations, and we do recommend approval. I'm going to turn it over to the applicant now for their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back to Newberry.
Evening, everyone. All right. So there's not a whole lot to add to what John Paul put together for us, but basically we're looking at the building right down the street. It's a vacant lot right now, so in adding this new building to this actual portion of the parcel, we did our best to mirror all the other vernacular that's already existing here in downtown Newberry, right? So we're trying to match the land development use as well as the historic context to bring a cohesive project together. This is where you get a lot of the brickwork that comes into play here. You look at in many of the two-story buildings that you have in place here. That's what you see. It also matches with the storefront that you see on the first floor and the windows above. So all that is in keeping with that mixture of semi-residential, semi-commercial, interplaying with the land development as well as the historic and bringing it all together. What you don't see a lot on here, you see a little bit from it, but it's hard to capture all of it fully in the renderings at this point in time, is a lot of the brick detail that goes into making those buildings complete at the end. You see a little bit up at the top in the entablature that is on the second story in the towers in the front with that parapet that steps up. And then this is a comparison of it along next to the existing building that is there right now. So we're not actually planning on doing anything to the existing building. We're only focused just on this new one, which is what we're bringing in front of you today, is the new building that's right here. In plan view, the existing building that is shared on that parcel is off to the right in this plan right, as you see on this view right here. And our new proposed project is on the left. Again, it's going to be commercial on the first floor, residential above, parking in the rear. So all of that complies with the land development code as it's written currently. This is a blow up of the open spaces. Right now it's just an open floor plan and tenants as they become available. Example of the units above, but none of that is with regards to historic, but it's just so you can see how those two play with each other. And this does a little bit better job of capturing the detailed elements of the brick cornicing that's there. And that's our presentation. Questions?
Thank you, sir. We'll get to those in 1 second. Don't go far. Do we have any public comment? Anybody here from the public wishing to speak to this agenda item? You have 3 minutes to go. No? All right. Then that will take us to, did you hear anything from staff you wanted to cross-examine?
No, I did
You
not.
don't need to. Did you hear anything you want to cross-examine? Great. Okay, member decision-making body. Do you have any questions? Board member Naeem.
So, question for staff. When it comes to historic grants and like keeping our historic, the grants basically, is the actual construction type an issue? So if it's framed with the brick veneer, is that gonna be an issue? Like if it's wood with the brick facade? Are they gonna come down on us saying, well, the historic code means that you need to have concrete everywhere and then you could put whatever facade?
So grants in historic districts typically are for remediation or rehabilitation of an existing building. As far as grants for new construction in historic districts, I'm not aware of any off the top of my head. New structures within historic districts are open to interpretation by the board. Some boards feel that what makes a historic district historic is each building is a time capsule for the period in which the building was constructed and is therefore significant for that reason, if not for another event or architectural, craftsmanship that goes into it.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern is I figured like this would probably be frame built with the brick veneer, which I know it's gonna look beautiful, it's gonna look very appealing. I just wanted to make sure that the historic code is not gonna give us any issues because it's frame built.
No.
Could I say something to that regard?
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of historic buildings in Gainesville and around. So there's a balancing point between those two that have major cost implications to it,
Yeah,
right?
no, that's
It's
why
like,
I'm like,
forget about the brick, maybe you look at the windows. If you try to match historic windows, it's very expensive and almost impossible these days. So it's a balancing point that the board has to walk between the image that you want to convey and driving the cost up to where you can't afford the building anymore. And things like building out of frame and a brick veneer, which to clarify, the brick veneer would be a full course of brick that's on it. We're not talking tile, right, that's on side of it. Those are economic decisions that keep the integrity of the design and the historic context without unnecessarily putting a burden on the developers to build to a certain metric, right? Only when you're dealing with renovations and really are trying to preserve the full materiality of the project is when you really want to dig into what those two things are.
yeah, I just wanted like for clarification, just to make sure that like this doesn't mess up any kind of future grants or anything like that. So, I mean, like I said, if you're looking at it from the outside, it's gonna look phenomenal. I have no doubt about it. I just wanted to make sure that there's no issues with it.
Yeah. Everything I heard sounded like a contemporary construction method and would be acceptable as far as, yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Okay, seeing none, do you feel the need to make a final argument?
I do not.
Do you feel the need to make a final argument? Thank you, sir. Mr. Attorney, would you please advise decision-making bodies to look below on factual findings?
It is substantial and competent evidence.
Thank you so much.
Sir.
Okay, we'll now enter deliberations. If there are no deliberations, I'll entertain a motion to approve with conditions, continue or deny.
Motion to approve if there's no.
I have a motion to approve from
Second.
Board Member Naeem. I have a second from Board Member Parker. Any comments or questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion passed unanimously. I do have a couple questions. I don't want to confuse the quasi-judicial. I want to make sure that our staff is communicating with you guys. I know the site plan and, as a future step, but we're trying to work out a way where we can handle stormwater in our downtown area sort of communally so that we're not asking any one person to deal with that. Have we engaged you guys as part of that conversation?
I have not personally engaged them,
No.
but
Okay,
Yeah.
because we recognize that there's gonna be an issue with stormwater,
Yeah.
and we recognize that there'll be an issue with anybody, and we want to encourage what you guys are doing. We think I agree, it's gonna look beautiful. We want that. We don't want any one business to have to incur that whole cost. So at the next staff meeting, when we get together, could we maybe update the applicant on what we're gonna try to do so that everybody can have a proportional share? And then any ideas of what's gonna happen with the parking would also be when you get to that, when we get to the site plan, what are we gonna do with all those cars? We know that lot right now is pretty full. So if we can get an update on that, that would be fantastic. Yeah. And that ends quasi judicial. We have no other, so topics for member discussion. Board Member Parker, you got anything? Board Member Willis, you got anything? Board Member Polo? Someone's gonna ask something. Miss Kathy? Nope. Jordan? Naeem? It's a non-talkative group. Everyone's tired today, all right? Save the next round, all right. Hearing none, we are adjourned for the Harb, and we are...
Oh, we're moving on?
Oh, yeah, we're moving right on. We are, we are here for the planning and zoning. So do I have a motion to approve the agenda as it was published for the planning and zoning?
So moved.
I have a motion from Naeem, a second from Jordan. We want to recognize the absence of, I should have done that in the Harb, Board Member Long. He is out on vacation, coming back now. Any comments, questions on motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? This is for the P and Z agenda approval. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We just did the pledge, so we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion from Naeem. Second from Ms. Kathy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Comment on you might want to make a note that there's only 4 members.
I just did.
I know, but a vote of 2 and 2, you didn't say that.
Well, I'll say that when I get to the quasi-judicial. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We have one item on tonight's, which is a quasi-judicial, and as Board Member Naeem was just saying, we are down 1 board member. That means that if a motion to approve is 2-2, it would in essence fail. So if the applicant wants to proceed knowing that possibility, you can always move forward with the quasi-judicial, and if the comments don't sound like they're going your way, you can call for a timeout and say, hey, can we table this till we have a full board up here? That's your right to do that. So everybody clear about the rules of the game we're about to embark on? Perfect. It is a new meeting, so unfortunately I have to read this all over again. We're entering into quasi-judicial procedures. This means the commission will stop being a legislative body and become a judicial board, which means that we have to follow certain rules and adhere to the different standards of decision-making. The primary rule must follow concerned testimony and substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the judicial board makes a decision. This standard states the following, and I quote, all public testimony will be taken under oath. Everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. Giving opinion testimony is limited to experts. Closing arguments are limited to evidence of record. Now I'm going to ask the attorney to please read into the record the resolution by title only.
I think you should repeat that.
I'm practicing for the Watermelon Festival auction.
Mr. Mayor, the appropriate motion at the appropriate time will be to approve the resolution which will be before the City Commission. And I'll read this by title only. This is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida, approving with appropriate conditions and safeguards the preliminary plat of Eden's Garden subdivision as authorized under Section 5.16 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations for a planned residential development, PRD, zoning district on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida. Tax parcel number is 01919-003-004, consisting of approximately 6.95 acres, repealing all resolutions in conflict and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to send on to the City Commission for approval resolution number 2023-33 SD 23-02 as read by title only.
Thank you, sir. While you're at the mic, would you please go ahead and swear in the applicant, staff, and anybody wishing to participate?
Do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? I do. Witnesses have been sworn, and if you'll give your 2 names, please. Thank you. Witnesses have been sworn.
Thank you, sir. Before we begin, we need to disclose any ex parte communications and disclose whether the member physically inspected the property. Ex parte communications are any conversation or transmission of information that may have bearing or influence on any voting member's decision. Board Member Paula? Board Member Thomas? Jordan? Naeem? I'm a non-voting member, but I have nothing to disclose as well. I'm going to explain the order of presentations that we're going to follow for every quasi-judicial item before us tonight. presentation order. First, we're going to hear staff overview, then we'll hear from the applicant with no time limit. Then we'll hear staff's report and recommendation, also with no time limit. I've not been contacted by anybody wishing to claim a third-party intervener status. That's going to move us to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak to this agenda item will have 3 minutes to do so. Then we'll hear cross-examinations from the applicant and staff. Then members of the making body, through the chair, can ask questions of the applicant and staff. Final arguments will then be made by the applicant and staff. City attorney will then advise decision-making bodies, put the law and factual findings. Then we'll have deliberations. After deliberations, a motion will be taken to approve. Approval conditions, continue or deny. Staff, launch us off with the overview.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. John Paul Perez, Planning and Economic Development Department. Tonight I'll be presenting on behalf of Uma Sarmista, who couldn't be with us. She's at conference. The request for before you is the preliminary plat for Eden's Garden. This plat is pursuant to a planned residential development that was approved last year for 12 single-family homes. This image shows the general location of the subject property abutting the Newberry Oaks development. Here's an aerial showing the current conditions of the property. On this, you can see the shadow from the Duke energy lines running through it. So again, in October 10th, 2022, the rezoning was approved, and this plat is now just pursuant to that. Staff's reviewed it and finds it consistent with the preliminary development plan that was approved with the rezoning. And I believe there was a presentation sent in by the applicant that has not been included in this slide presentation. I'm going to call on Chris Potts to come up and speak to the item or answer any questions at this time for the subdivision that's being requested. All right, if the board could forgive staff one more time. We are now loading the applicant presentation. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Your wheelhouse. Oh, yeah, yeah, got you, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I concur.
Ready? Yes. Good evening. I'm Christopher Potts, Director of Engineering for JB Pro. I am a licensed professional engineer in the state of Florida as well as Georgia. So we're just going to talk about our subdivision application for preliminary plat and the construction plans. The project is Eden's Garden, which John Paul has already introduced to you. We're just going to go over a little bit of the project background, some of the design, some of the architectural, and then we'll go through some discussion and questions later. As John Paul mentioned, this is roughly a 7-acre piece behind Newberry Oaks, kind of the last part of the subdivision up on the north side. There is a significant Duke easement coming through it, and there's roughly about 4 acres of developable property outside of the Duke easement. Just as a reminder to the board, the project went through a rezoning last year to a planned residential development. These are some of the key items from the approved PD. Maximum 12 lots, minimum lot width of 60 feet, minimum of 7,500 square feet for the lots, detached only, 35 feet for the height of the buildings, as well as a 10-foot perimeter buffer, and then the building setbacks. So this was the approved PRD Master Plan. And it's kind of what we call a bubble plan. It just shows generic areas of open space, the roadway, as well as the developable area. So the kind of the crosshatch on the perimeters is the open space, which is used for the Duke easement, stormwater, and then you can see the roadway kind of defined there in the center. And so that brought us to where we are today, submitting for construction plan and preliminary plat approval. We've gone through the city review process, addressing their comments, as well as we have the Water Management District permit. We're coordinating with Clay Electric on their electrical design. The roadway has the maximum 12 lots. All of them meet the 7,500 square foot minimum perimeter buffer. I know during the rezoning process, our neighbors to the east asked us for kind of a buffer, come up with ways to differentiate, protect them from the farming. So we put the stormwater on that side. So not only do we have a 10-foot perimeter buffer, the existing trees are gonna, few of them are remaining on the east side. We are putting up a privacy opaque fence on the property line. And then on top of it as well, the stormwater basin is separating the neighbors from us as well. And then as John Paul mentioned, this is also a preliminary plat, so we have the preliminary plat included in the package. However, the final plat will be submitted through a separate process with the city. So that is, the site plan level. As part of the plan development, we had to provide architectural elements. So these are just some examples and styles of architectural renderings and floor plans that the developer would like to have for the 12 lots. So there will be a version of these kind of mixed in through the 12 different lots. These are obviously going to be built as far as people coming and wanting to purchase a lot and then build. They're not going to be national builder where they're just all built at once. They're going to be, I guess you can sort of say, custom homes, sort of. But these are just examples of what they're looking for to build in the area. And we request that the Planning and Zoning Board, approve the subdivision petition as recommended by city staff. And that concludes our presentation.
Thank you, Chris. Don't go far. John Paul, do you have a report and recommendation? Or did you get your report and now you just want to give the recommendation?
There are a few more slides. Chris has already covered them. Just to speed things up, staff has found it consistent with the rezoning ordinance, the preliminary development plan attached to that, as well as the land development regulations and comprehensive plan, and we are recommending approval of the request.
All right. Any members of the public here to speak to this agenda item? You have 3 minutes to do so. Seeing none, that's going to take us down. Chris, did you want to speak? Don't be shy.
I mean,
You're a member of the public now. You can come up and you get 3 minutes.
I don't know.
Come on, you got to come into the mic though.
I never said anything about it. I just attended all the meetings, and
Hey, can you say your name for the record?
Melina Parker.
Thank you.
I don't know where we're at as far as being able to change anything. I don't know. I see some issues here. The one road in, not having another entrance to that neighborhood for construction purposes specifically. Everybody parks their car on the road in the neighborhood. It's really hard to drive like my little car through there. I mean, I don't know if they're
Just
gonna
wait,
make.
Halloween's coming.
Yeah, you're not driving through there at all during Halloween. You park on the outside of the neighborhood and walk in. No, we love Halloween. It's fantastic. I'm concerned about that. I wish them the best of luck. I think you're gonna come into an issue clearing the lot with construction debris and issues in there. I don't think 12 homes is going to fit comfortably, but if they think that they can, then okay. I thought it was originally one home, and then we talked about multiple things, so I'm not sure where we're at in the process, but I think it could be better. I don't think the neighborhood was considered. I know that a lot of people talked about it, so I don't think I need to go into all of that. But I think you're looking at a very hefty cost just to clear it. And then I think they should really consider another route into that neighborhood from somewhere. That's all.
Thank you so much. Any other members of the public here to wish to speak tonight? Seeing none, that's going to take us to cross-examinations. Chris, did you hear anything from staff you want to cross-examine? Staff, did you hear anything from the applicant you want to cross-examine?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Again, I've not been contacted by anybody wishing to claim a third-party intervener status. Members of the decision-making body, do you have any questions? Again, to the residents concerned, we're at plat level now, so the issues of the number of houses and the road, those all happened at a previous stage. So now we're just looking at where do those 12 houses get to go?
I have a question. It's for the gentleman here from JB. Just out of curiosity, and this is obviously we're looking at pot level, but is the intention of these homes to be like low pressure system tanks? Or I know that we have a sewage system in the city, but is there also going to be a low pressure system that ties into it as well? Do you know?
No, to be all gravity sewer
Okay.
and connected to municipal water.
Okay. And then do you know, just out of curiosity, is the Duke energy easement, is that in perpetuity or?
Correct.
Okay, that was it. Thank you.
Any other questions? For anyone watching at home, the residents, right, we did have lots of conversations about this. We had more meetings about these 12 houses than I think we've ever had about any other small part. So I'm not giving short shrift to it, but we've talked a lot about this development here. Any other? Ms. Polo?
Mr. Mayor, I do not have a question about this, but a comment. I live in Country Way, the old Country Way, and they have built a new neighborhood off of the back end of that. I remember being really worried about how that was all going to happen, and it was very benign. I mean, I'm sure that the neighbors that are living directly next to the construction sites at 3 a.m. concrete pours, I totally get it. Yes, but it has not been as impactful as I was concerned that it would be, and it's a couple more houses than this. So I just wanted to make that a comment. You know, I'm sure that the organizations that are going to be working on these will be doing their utmost to make sure that you guys are as impacted as little as possible. But that was just a comment. Thank you.
And we do have great relationships, especially when it's local builders and those kinds of things, you know. Okay, if there are no more questions from the dais, would you like to make a final argument? John Paul, would you like to make a final argument? Mr. Attorney, would you please advise us to make bodies applicable law and factual findings?
Substantial and competent evidence, which means people that have initials after their names, like Chris Potts, and that means he can give you opinion testimony because that's his professional expertise.
Thank you, sir. We'll enter into deliberations. If there are no deliberations, I'll have a motion to approve conditions, continue, or deny.
I move to approve them.
I have a motion for approval from Jordan.
Second.
I have a second from Board Member Polo. Any comments, questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? I would ask the board, since we are down one, if there's any thought that this will not pass tonight, to let the applicant know so that we can get a full board back. So I know that there's one person who's already had concerns here, but again, those concerns were in a previous one. And now we're just talking about the plat. So we want to give any heads up to the applicant. Okay, roll call vote. Member Polo? Jordan? Naeem? Okay, motion passes 3-1 with Board Member Naeem in dissent. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing you guys move. Any topics for members' discussion? You were holding something.
I do. I have two things. I should have done one then and one now. First of all, I would like to encourage anybody who would be so inclined. The Education Foundation of Alachua County is in need of mentors for local students here in Newberry. That, you know, they've been identified as high-performing students, but due to financial or familial situations are unable to attend college. As a mentor, you put in about an hour a week, making sure that your mentee is on the right track doing their work and geared up for success so they can receive scholarships for college. The second one, I would like to share that the Greater Gainesville Chamber of Commerce is hosting their 3rd annual countywide scavenger hunt. We have had 75 gators, little wooden articulating gators, painted by the Artisans Guild of Gainesville. They are going to be hidden throughout the county. I will be releasing clues leading you to those locations. And everybody that finds one of these gators is entered into a grand prize, which is 2 season passes and 1 parking ticket to next season's Gator home football games. I also received some information that we are also going to be doing that for basketball as well, so we'll have 2 prizes this year. So I encourage everybody to follow the Greater Gainesville Chamber of Commerce and get involved in that, have some fun, and go out and visit some cool businesses.
That sounds pretty exciting. And the tickets would be for next season? And next season, I have it on good authority, 11-0. Next season, that's right?
Yeah, I heard you guys have been eliminated from this year's playoffs already.
No, not yet, right? Not yet. Ms. Kathy?
I promised Francis that I
So
Newberry, capital of the world, so everybody get ready.
September 9th.
Parade.
September 9th is a fabulous city stance. Yeah.
And does it say on the flyer how you buy tickets?
You would go to you can do it on the Newberry Main Street organization. You can register your vehicle online, and vendors are welcome to apply. And there's an application form to fill out on their Facebook event page. But it's this Saturday from 4 to 8 o'clock. Yep.
Thank you. Jordan?
I would just like to say I am grateful to be in the city of Newberry, and I know that there are people who are less fortunate given the circumstances of the hurricane, and I just want to say I thank the city for standing with the sister organizations and agencies that we have and helping them, and I appreciate everything that went into that, and I also appreciate the timeliness in recovering power. I know some people it was a little longer than my 30-second outage, but I appreciate the hard work that the city went into preparing and carrying out that, so I just want to say thank you.
Thank you for that, absolutely. Naeem?
Yeah, I would like to also echo, hell of a job to our guys out there, our linemen, our crew, everybody that kept the power running. I was one of the fortunate ones that it just flickered off real quick, just enough to kick the internet off, and it came right back on, waited about another 5 minutes, and everything's been working fabulous. I do want to send out my prayers and thoughts to those that were impacted on the coast, Cedar Key, Steinhatchee, Horseshoe, especially Keaton Beach, Live Oak, all those that were less fortunate than us. And thanks to our crew for going out there too, giving the extra manpower. It shows that we are, even though we're a small town, we can do big things with great love. Just by showing our support and sending our guys out there. So a big thank you to them. I want to remind everybody about the Scarecrow Road event that's happening. I know we get all excited because we are a Christmas town, but let's not forget that Halloween is right down the corner. It's like a month away.
You never forget Halloween. It's Thanksgiving that kind of falls off.
Yeah. But Scarecrow Road contest is taking place between October 1st and 31st. This is being brought to you by Newberry Main Street Organization. And then they'll announce the Scarecrow winner on October 28th. And you can email Charmaine at executivedirnmsoinfo@gmail.com to reserve a poll to decorate for Scarecrow. And
They're going fast, so
Yeah.
email quick. I've already got mine.
I'm fixing to email mine.
Yeah.
so got to move it on that, and then before you know it, be Christmas time. But once again, thanks to our crew, thanks to our staff, and preparing for this storm that thankfully just missed us. So
Thank you, sir. Well, you guys did a great job of thanking everybody. I just want to thank the residents. I had more residents reach out to me and say, hey, put me in, coach. I got a chainsaw, I got a truck. Thankfully, we didn't have to call on our residents to help get out and clear out roads this time along, but just knowing that we live in a community that has so many people who are standing ready and willing to do that, just makes the job a whole lot easier. We do have homecoming before we meet again. Homecoming this year is September 22nd. We've got a homecoming dance. We've got a homecoming parade on September 22nd. We'll have the same route as we've had for years now. We're going to come out right here. Right here, the First Baptist, thank you. Can't remember that road, right? We'll turn east and we'll turn back west right in front of the railroad track. So everybody gather up here on City Hall lawn. Newberry Elementary School is another good place. And then in front of the tennis courts is also a lot of fun to sit and watch the kids. A lot of buzz we're doing, the voting for the homecoming king and queen. That's what always gets everybody riled up about homecoming. So September 22nd, parade and the game will crown the queen and the king. Don't forget the king, during the halftime show. And that's it for me. Public comments? Hearing none, we are adjourned.